Hi everyone, welcome back to Board Shorts, your bite-sized guide to being a franchisee. My name is Ben Brooks, I'm the Managing Director here at Agency Express, and I'm joined today by franchise royalty, right to the top for today's session. Pip, thanks so much for coming on and talking to us today. Perhaps you could start by introducing yourself.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. So I'm Pip Wilkins. I'm the CEO at the British Franchise Association. I've been with the BFA for 25 years overall and about 10 now as the CEO.
Wow, quite a stint. So perhaps if you could start by telling us who the BFA are.
So the BFA has been around since 1977, way before I was born, and is basically a trade association that looks after franchising in the UK market. So our goal is to help educate people that are going to invest in a franchise on the key due diligence you need to do, to help franchisors that are maybe looking at franchising their business. And then obviously we have membership for both franchisors and franchisees with an array of benefits that principally are around education and connection.
Yes, it's all about bringing people together. But the question I've never actually asked on this podcast to someone who's joined us, what is franchising? Why are we all here?
So for me, franchising is a really simple relationship. It's basically two parties, a bit like a marriage. You get together to decide whether this is a long-term relationship you both want to enter. The joy of franchising for a potential franchisee is that you can do whatever you want to do. You know, it doesn't have to be something that you've got previous experience in. It doesn't have to be something that you know a lot about. It's just something that you're really passionate about. Because once you choose your franchisor, you're going to get all the training and support to get you up and running. But it's basically a proven business model that individuals can access to build a business in their local area. A franchisor gives you backup, training, support, really looks after you throughout the term of a relationship. So it's a way to access business in the right way.
I think a lot of people get confused with franchising. We still get people who talk to us when we say we work in the franchise industry. They think we're talking about Harry Potter or car dealerships.
Yeah.
So understanding fundamentally what franchising is, the idea of business format franchising is so important. But what makes it better than self-employment? You know, if someone's considering being self-employed, they want to strike out on their own, they're ready for that. Why go to a franchise rather than just start up by themselves?
Because of the proven business model, when you're looking at business format franchising, we say it's really easy to define. You know, it is a relationship between a franchisor and franchisee, and you've got these four common elements. When you're investing in a franchise, you have the right to access a brand and business system. The brand will be owned and protected by the franchisor. The system is going to be something that's proven and transferable. So they've already done it. They've already gone out. They've made the expensive mistakes. They know how the system works. And then they give you the support. And that, for me, is the defining thing. If there is no ongoing support, this isn't a business format franchise. You should have the training and support at the beginning to get you up and running, and then the ongoing support throughout the term of the relationship with the franchisor that is wrapped up in a franchise agreement that's going to be a comprehensive document, but it's going to be fair. The reason that franchising for me is successful, and when you look at it against normal self-employment, is the success rate. You know, for more than 20 years, the failure rate in franchising has been less than 5%. If you compare that to startup businesses, most fail within their first 5 years outside of franchising. So you're getting a better start with the protection of, you know, the franchisor's know-how and experience.
Yeah, it's all about that success rate, isn't it? I think franchising is born out of people benefiting from others' successes and others' failures. You
Yeah.
know, if we know that a franchise model works and it becomes part of that franchise universe in the UK, people have gone before you, they've made the mistakes, they've experienced the business so that you get to benefit from that, those many years of experience that form the franchise network.
Yeah. 100%.
Good. So, no doubt that franchising is better than self-employment, but why is the BFA so important to the franchise community?
I think, you know, the most important thing for, I guess, if you're looking at it from a potential franchisee perspective, is the comfort that you can take when a brand is a BFA member. So we don't just say, roll up, you know, you can be a BFA member. There's over 1,000 systems in the UK market. We represent about a third of those. Yes, we have a goal to grow as well, but those brands have put themselves forward to be assessed against a set of criteria. And we look at a franchisor's operational practices, we look at their finances, we look at their marketing materials to make sure they're not misrepresenting the business in any way. We want to see financial projections when a franchisee is looking to invest that they've been proven, that they're disclaimed so that the franchisor is protected as well. But most importantly, we talk to the franchisee. So we do a survey in partnership with a company called WorkBuzz, which is a franchisee satisfaction survey. It looks at the training and support offered. It looks at financials. It looks at, value and rewards. It looks at the leadership. It looks at everything so that we get a real snapshot of what the franchisees say about that franchise business. And we're looking to make sure that what the brands are doing and saying really matches up with the franchisee experience. I think that's one of the most important parts of our due diligence. It doesn't take away the fact that if someone is looking to invest in a franchise, due diligence is the most important thing. It's understanding what you're going to do every day, whether you like the people. I always say franchising is a bit like a marriage. You don't go on a first date and then drop down on one knee and say, will you marry me? This is a bit where you go through that kind of dating process. And that's your due diligence. Do I like them? Is there something that's going to give me the ick factor about them if you're looking at it in dating terms? So for me, due diligence is really key. But what we do at the BFA is help franchisees with that journey. We help them with where you start, questions that you should ask, overall experience. But we also help franchisors. Our goal when brands join the BFA is to help them on their journey because franchisors are learning and growing too. Franchisee and franchisor both go on a life cycle. So for us, it's helping, franchisors through that life cycle of knowing how to help when franchisees get to the stage where they resell their business. What does exit planning look like? All of that kind of stuff. So for me, I see the BFA's one of its principal roles is about education.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point that leads us on to how the BFA can help prospective franchisees who are coming into that franchise sphere. It can be quite unnerving. The amount of information that's out there is overwhelming. Franchise exhibitions, franchise magazines, franchise websites, podcasts like this. But it's really important that they kind of drill down to the detail. So how can the BFA help with that, help someone to understand what's right for them?
I mean, straight off, we've got 50 questions that you can ask a franchisor when you're going through the due diligence process on our website. And we have a free, what we call a prospect franchisee certificate. It takes you on that due diligence journey. It will give you a more detailed overview of what franchising is. It will tell you more about the legal documents that you're going to sign. We talk about a franchise agreement, but you're likely to sign a confidentiality agreement when you first start, really talking to a franchisor. There might be a deposit agreement. So it's just understanding what all those legal documents are and what you need to know about them. When you get it reviewed, it will give you questions to ask when you go and see a franchisor. It's drilling down on the support that you're going to get offered within a certain network. So for us, it's about access to information, taking some of those free resources and using them when you're going out and speaking to a franchisor. Franchise exhibitions you just mentioned, they play a part in someone's due diligence. Nothing beats going out and seeing franchisors en masse and understanding more about how they operate on a day-to-day basis. There's educational stuff when you go to a franchise show. So there's just loads of information that you can tap into. And for me, you could never do too much due diligence. That's the key thing, because this isn't a short-term relationship. When you enter into a franchise agreement, it's likely to be for somewhere between 5 and 25 years, depending on the size of the brand. So knowing that you've got the right fit, the right partner for you is really important. Nothing beats the passion for what you're going to do and spending time with the franchisor going through kind of the questions that we're going to give you and ask them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's all about passion. It's not just about buying yourself a business or building an income. It's about having passion for what you do. So if you don't have the skills at the outset to run a mathnasium or to operate an agency express business, then the franchisor is going to give you that. What you're doing is bringing the passion and the drive. Okay, so the BFA are there to support franchisees, they're there to support franchisors. It's all about helping both parties through that journey of building a successful franchise business. What does the prospective franchisee need to look out for? What kind of pitfalls can people fall into?
Not understanding what you're going to do every day. We do often see that where a franchisee hasn't done enough due diligence of the brand that they're going to buy into, and they don't really realise how hard it's going to be. At the end of the day, much as it is a proven business system and you are buying into something where somebody's done this before you and they've walked the walk, for me, the bit is the reality of it. If you are going to be a Snap-on Tools franchisee, as an example, you are going to be out driving a van around. You're going to be spending time um, with mechanics, talking to them about all of the great tools. It's making sure that you fully understand the realities of the day to day. So that's kind of one of the things. The other is that you're not buying a job. You are buying
Mm.
business. You are accountable for driving that business forward. You're buying a business that you can build an asset in. So this is about building it and maintaining it all the way through the process and not following the system. That's probably one of the principal things that we hear franchisors say is, we've bought somebody in. I don't get it. I don't understand why people buy a franchise, which is a proven business model with an operations manual that is you kind of, this is how you do it. Here's the Bible, and then do something different.
I always compare that to those baker cake boxes that you can buy, where you buy the box of Aunt Bessie's and it comes with everything already in. All you got to do is pour it into the pan, add the milk, and away you go. Someone coming into a franchise business and trying to change the system is someone getting those ingredients, then trying to separate them with a sieve and make their own cake. It defeats the entire purpose of why you're there.
Yeah, and it's it is hard work, and it's franchising isn't a license to print money. It is an opportunity to get into business for yourself, but not by yourself. I know it's a real cliche term; we use it a lot, but it is that's what you're doing is you're buying the cake mix, make the cake in the way that it says to on the tin, and tap in. Franchising is a community. It's a family of people, whether you're in one brand or the whole community. So it's lean into the support services that are there. And keep communicating. For me, the most common reason that the franchise relationship breaks down is because the franchisor and franchisee aren't communicating effectively. So, with that continued communication, I think, it works.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let's finish up. One tip to give to prospective franchisees, people coming through that franchise journey, if they had one thing you could tell them to do, what would it be?
Find something you love. This is something that you're going to do every day for the next 5, 10, 15 years. So find something that floats your boat, that you're really passionate about, that you enjoy doing. Because if you enjoy doing it, it will make it really easy when you do have the tough days as a franchisee, which invariably you're going to have. But, I think the good far outweighs the bad. If you find something you love, it will help when you're having a tough day.
That is a wonderful soundbite for us to end on. Pip, thank you so much for giving us 15 minutes of your time today. If you are a prospective franchisee or indeed a prospective franchisor coming through the process of your franchise journey, I'll put some links in the description of how you can find the BFA and how you can reach out to them and they can help you. But for today, we'll call it a day there and say thanks for joining us again on Board Shorts, and we hope to see you again soon.